This episode of the Accounting Insiders podcast is brought to you in part by Xero. Xero is a powerful cloud accounting software that improves efficiencies across your practice. With all client data stored on a single unified ledger, you and your clients can easily access and collaborate on the same set of books. Xero's advisor tools and automation solutions reduce time-consuming manual tasks and put data entry on autopilot. Work faster and more efficiently than ever before with Xero. Visit xero.com/accounting insiders to learn more. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Accounting Insiders podcast. My name is Gary Dehart. I'm the publisher of Insightful Accountant and the host of the Accounting Insiders podcast. My guest today is Blake Grewal. Did I say that right? I should have asked you in the green room.
You were close. It's Grewal.
Grewal. Well, of course it is. Grewal, right? So why would I call it anything else? He is the founder of Bold Growth, which is listen to this one, it's a tech and creative studio for legal and financial services businesses. So welcome. Thanks for taking a few minutes, probably about 15, 20 minutes, I think is usually what our conversations run.
Cool.
But appreciate you guys. You guys actually reached out to me. So I look forward to kind of seeing where this discussion goes. We're going to talk about two things primarily: data-driven decisions. Accountants love that. Customer journey mapping. It's, I'm sure for them, it's like me reading a balance sheet. It's just, it's there. It's probably a good thing to look at every now and then, but I have a hard time not buying into it, but I have a hard time investing the time to go through that process. So I hope what we get through is by the end of this discussion, we will have touched on, all right, here's the data points that are out there. Here's what we're looking at, what an accounting firm should be looking at and considering when making their decisions. And these are mostly marketing decisions we're talking about, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then taking and really kind of explaining and help people understand why it's worth the time, why it's valuable to go through that customer journey mapping. We just brought on HubSpot in our company not too long ago. And, we built personas on the front end and good exercise, but it does take time. And, we're a small business, just like many accounting firms are small businesses. And, I have 24 hours in the day. I need to sleep some, and my wife likes to spend some time with me some. And so, where do I carve that time out? So, that's high level what we're going to touch on. And so, but before we do that, what's your background and kind of share your background and how you got here and kind of big picture on what Bold Growth is.
Yeah. My background professionally and in the business world starts pretty early on. I actually grew up in a family of entrepreneurs, all who happen to own service-based businesses in the financial and legal services world. So always been around that world. And, as I grew up and went into the professional and business world, spent some time in tech as well. And it's been cool to combine my tech experiences with the service-based world. And, time and time again, when I look back on each experience that I've had, whether it was with a family business or other business I was working with, I found that the businesses that were the most successful were the ones that had the best customer experiences at the end of the day. When I look back on some of the failures that happened, a lot of it was around customer experiences and what I call this growth at all cost problem, where businesses are growing at the expense of their brand and customer experience. And to dive into that more, you see it a lot, especially in the legal and financial services world, where businesses month over month are spending a ton of time and money into marketing, whether it's internally or with an agency. They maybe get a nice influx of leads month over month. Some of those leads convert to customers if they're lucky. And then next thing you know, they don't deliver on the experience, right? And they don't build long-term relationships that lead to more 5-star reviews, referrals, and testimonials, which helps grow their business organically. And then at the end of it all, they're back to square one. And it can be a very vicious cycle. And I found that delivering memorable and better customer experiences can help solve that problem.
Yeah, because you don't want to have to replace 50% of your business every year or 60% of your business, especially in a services business, right?
Yeah.
I need you to come back so I can grow my business and spend more time growing the business and less time just trying to get back to where I was.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about, or when you talk about data-driven decisions, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Again, we were talking in the green room. There's 1,000 million data points we can look at. For an accounting firm, what's the data that matters?
Yeah. Yeah. So on the customer experience side and just in business in general, like you said, there is so many metrics to track, right? Or that you could track. I'm sure you mentioned that you just started using HubSpot, tons of metrics that you can track on HubSpot, and
Yep.
it can be daunting. And I think as a small business, it's super important to keep it simple. I always try with my business, with other clients' businesses to keep it super simple. As you mentioned, you have 24 hours in a day. You don't have time to look at a million data points, right? You need to understand the ones that are most important to you and are going to drive growth for your business. So I'll back up first. When we're gathering and understanding customer data, there's usually three scenarios I found in each interaction we have with a company when we first start working with them on the data side. So one is they're not collecting data at all, right? That's the first scenario. Second, they're collecting some, but it's all over the place on different tech platforms, spreadsheets, etc. And when it's spread out all over, yeah, I've been
Guilty.
there. I've been there too. And when it's spread out all over the place, it's hard to make decisions, right, and
Right.
take action on it because it's all over. And then the third one is they are collecting data. Maybe it is super organized, but they don't know how to act on it because again, there's millions of data points out there that you could look at. But which ones do I look at? And what I found as well, I actually posted about this on LinkedIn today, is there's a concept that has been super intriguing to me called tech bloat. And it's, to make it simple, there's a ton of tech platforms out there nowadays, and they make it super easy to sign up with a single click, right? But that adds bloat to your business, and that also can make data in one place, customer communications in one place, and it can make it super complicated. So I always tell businesses to avoid tech bloat at all costs. How you do that is make sure you're getting the most out of each tool that you have, right? I think I found this in my personal business. I look at a tool that I'm paying for and I realize I'm only using probably 20 to 30% of it, right? So
Right.
it's super important to avoid that. And that helps with gathering and understanding data, just to clean that up and make it simple and get started. But as far as what data to track, when you look at customer experiences, there's two metrics that are super simple that you can start today tracking, which is the net promoter score. So how likely someone is to refer a friend or colleague to your business. And then also a customer satisfaction score. So with the net promoter score, that's a good indicator of future growth, right? Because you're going to see which people will actually be promoters of your business and send
Hmm.
you referrals. Whereas the customer satisfaction score, I find that that's a good indicator of just real-time satisfaction throughout the customer journey. So it can be at any point in that journey, any moment, right? Grading that satisfaction that customer is going through. Net promoter score, I like to send that out when there's significant milestones completed. I find that it makes the most sense to send that out. But then on the heels of that, you want to track how that's impacting your business, right? So looking at if you do have a scorecard in your business, tracking your leads, revenue, etc. Very simple metrics that people just sometimes don't have the time to sit down and create a scorecard or create a dashboard to track. So I always find it's important to have those metrics, those few metrics in your back pocket that you know, hey, here's what I'm going to track. Have it set out for 1 to 3 months, right? Say, I'm going to track my net promoter score and customer satisfaction score for this specified period of time. And I'm going to see how it's going to impact my revenue and business growth. That I find drills in focus and cuts through all the other stuff that you could be tracking on a monthly basis.
Okay. And so with that, we'll stick on data and net promoter score, customer satisfaction. So is that something that I'm setting up on my own? Is that something that I'm outsourcing to a company like yours or similar? What does that look like?
Yeah, so it's great because a lot of the tech tools that are out there actually allow you to send out these feedback forms and survey forms. HubSpot's one of them that does. What we do for our clients, if they're not already tracking this, is we set up forms for them. One tool that I use and I've really enjoyed is a tool called Typeform. It just makes surveys and forms more interactive. And I
Hmm.
find the more interactive they are, the easier they are to fill out. That helps get more responses, right? And that's so important, especially when you're looking to make decisions on this data, is the amount of responses that you're getting. So you can do it both ways. You can set it up on your own if you feel comfortable doing that, or you could outsource it to someone else that can help you get these forms set up, make them more interactive and engaging, so you do get some good responses.
Yep. Yeah, because and we'll stick with HubSpot. And we were just on a training session for HubSpot because again, we brought it on board a while ago, and we got it in, start going, start sending and doing this and doing that. We're like, oh, we don't know how to do this. We don't know how to do that. We don't know how to do any of this.
Yeah.
And so we finally have some training after using it for, I don't know, 5 months.
Yeah.
And you said 20%, we're probably 10% of the true power of a tool like a HubSpot, because
Yeah.
I mean, it can
Oh,
drill down.
it
It can
can
give
do a
you a lot
lot.
of data. Yeah, give you a
Yeah.
lot of data, right? That you
Yeah.
can then make decisions. And some of what we were, and I keep pointing up here because it was on the screen, but
Yeah.
so some of what we were looking at was ways to parse some of that data and do some comparisons with, because
Yeah.
we send a lot of emails out, and pretty much, lifeblood is email for us.
Mhm.
And being able, even just a couple little things that he showed us, like, wow, that's good information. It's
Yeah.
data. And now we can, if we step back and go, hey, what is the information that we can pull from here? Or better yet, what's the information that we want to pull from here? And then
Yeah.
change, if needed, change how we do it so that we can
Yeah.
get the data that we need, right? And
Yeah.
this is some of the things that you help people
Correct.
work out through your process, right?
Correct. Correct. And I think it's important to ask yourself why and be really curious throughout this data process. We talked in the green room before this. There's the analytical piece of data, but there's also the creative piece of data. And I think that the analytical piece is great, but I find that the ones that really bring that creativity to looking at data, telling impactful stories from it, and taking action from it in a creative way are the brands that really differentiate themselves out there. So, for
Mhm.
example, when we talk through customer satisfaction or net promoter score, I always find it's important to reinforce why we're tracking these things, because ultimately, in my mind, if my business is improving those for your business, it should impact your growth. You should be getting more 5-star reviews, more referrals, more testimonials, and we should be able to track that over time. I find as humans in general, we love having something to measure and track, right? So
Right.
again, it's just super important to pick those metrics that are most relevant to your business and have it set for a specified period of time just to give it a chance and see how it impacts your business.
Now, is there a difference in a net promoter score and a customer satisfaction score?
Yeah, so a net promoter score is really tied to future growth. So it's a gauge of how likely someone is to refer your business, whereas customer satisfaction is satisfaction in that moment. So let's say you and I hop up off this call a
Yeah.
great time to ask how my experience was. That wouldn't be a indicator of if I'm more likely to refer your business. It's more of just how my experience was in that moment.
Okay. But we would use the same process or
Correct.
forms or form like type form to encourage the customer or the prospect to either promote or tell me how satisfied they are with the business.
Correct. And I find
Right.
too, and we can kind of get into this with the customer journey mapping, but I'll hit it now.
Yeah.
Uh, Typeform, I mentioned this earlier, they have what they call form logic. I don't know if you can do this in HubSpot, but I find that you can do it in Typeform in a pretty simple way, where depending on what someone rates your service, you can actually route them to send you a review or create a
Mm,
testimonial for you. I
yeah.
found that to be super powerful for businesses because Google is a monster to deal with at times, right? And if someone even dings you just a little bit on a review, it can be detrimental at times to your ranking. Uh,
Yep.
so I found with that routing, right, if you have someone that gives you a net promoter score of 9 or 10, that's supposed to be someone that is really pumped about your business and would promote you. That's a great time to then automatically send someone to give you a Google review, right? And I find that people don't use that enough, right? They may have, this goes back to the scenarios that I described earlier. They could have a ton of data, but they just haven't done anything with it yet, right? And
Hmm.
I've had businesses that we've worked with that, like, man, you're sitting on some awesome scores here and some great customer satisfaction. Have you guys asked for a referral? Have you guys asked for a testimonial? Most of the time, the answer is no, because they're just so
Right.
busy with their day to day.
Right. Okay. And in a lot of cases, I mean, in these service-based businesses, referrals are, I mean, that's
Huge.
gold, right? That is
Yes.
absolutely gold, maybe platinum, right? I don't, so
Whatever one.
lithium, it's a lithium, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's talk about the customer journey mapping. And I'll go back, so data-driven decisions, accounting people are probably pretty happy with that. but then let's talk about customer journey mapping
Yeah.
and the importance of it, why we do it or why we should do it, and then what that process really looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. So this would be the more creative side, right? And some people might be like, again, why would I do that? I don't have
Right.
time to do it. But
I'm
it
an
also
accountant. I'm an accountant. I did not get into accounting to be creative. That
yeah.
takes me to jail, right? So,
I,
yeah,
I don't need to spend time drawing a map, right?
yeah,
Um, but this also, and this is why we start with data first, because data really helps, again, cut through that noise and show where we should focus on. And we take those findings into the customer journey map. And what the customer journey map is, in a super simple way, is we map out every single interaction a prospect or customer has with your business from beginning to end. And when I say from the beginning, I don't mean the first meeting. We actually take it a step further and we say the first time they see your business or brand, right?
right.
That's that first interaction. How do they interact with your website, et cetera, social media pages? That's that first interaction. Most think it's when they book a call or message you. We'd like to start super early. And what we do is think in moments. So there's 3 moments that as we map out the entire customer journey, we're looking to promote. And I'll walk through the 3 right now. So the first one is a moment of insight. You see a lot of businesses. HubSpot's actually a great example of a company that has thrived off of this. Drive a moment of insight for a prospect or customer. And what that means is you, as the business owner, are giving me either interactive content or quizzes throughout my journey that's showing me the power of your business, right? So this accounting firm could show different insights for my portfolio or tax situation that show me, wow, I need to work with these folks. They know what they're talking about. I like to deliver those moments of insights in the prospecting phase, especially. We do that with our customer health kit, where we give folks a customer health score, which shows how customer centric their business is. And it gives them a thing to measure and track throughout their experience with us. And it also gives them different nuggets that they can either take and work with us or take elsewhere. But either way, we're delivering that insight for them. The second one is moments of elevation, which this is moments that drive excitement and joy for the customer. A perfect example of this is when you make a sale, right? So you make a sale, you as the business owner, you're super excited. You should make that a great moment for the customer as well, right? And have that onboarding journey be seamless. Show them your process, show them what they have to look forward to, show them milestones along the way. Really let them in on what you're going to be doing for them and get them excited about it. I see a lot of businesses drop the ball on that simple moment that I just described right there, which is the onboarding. A lot of businesses will close the sale and then they're on to the next one, right? And I think it's very important to drive those moments of elevation throughout your experience, because that's also going to help when we tie in data to this, net promoter scores and customer satisfaction scores. That's going to help improve those, because they're going to be super excited about the entire process and want to scream about your business to the world.
Right.
And then the third one and last one is moments of connection. So these are moments that you're building a bond that helps create long-term relationships throughout that customer journey. And in a very simple way, it's showing the customer that you're listening. So this could be as simple as a customer said their birthday is coming up, right? Or they're dealing with something in their personal or business life, and showing them that you care and that you're listening. HubSpot will bring them up again. It's a CRM, right? And it can be very useful for tracking these customer interactions and just keeping tabs on everyone. And those help build these moments of connection, which create that long-term bond. So moments of insight, moments of elevation, and moments of connection are what we're looking to drive, throughout the customer journey map. And we're always looking at how we can improve it, how we can enhance it. Tech is obviously a big, topic and big focus. How can we automate things? But what I'm finding when it comes to tech is people do want human connection. So I think it's very important to ultimately have human powered action, but to have it be tech assisted, right? So different
Mhm.
automations, different processes from that tech that's really helping enhance your overall team.
Yeah, and I think the tech side of it, let's while you since you brought it up, let's
Yeah,
talk about tech for a minute. And that is again, there's tons of tools, and you mentioned the tech bloat.
yeah,
And how do I narrow down the tech that I need
yeah,
from an accounting firm perspective, but also how do I leverage it going back to the, do I use 10%? Do I use 30%? How do I leverage it? Because even again, sticking with HubSpot, to map that journey for a customer, or to say, all right, well, after we get off this recording, Blake should get, tomorrow he should get an email that says, hey, thanks for joining me on the Accounting Insiders podcast. We'll let you know when it goes live. Then when it goes live, he needs to get another one saying, hey, it's live. Make sure you do X, Y, and Z. Somebody's got to write all that out.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that's one of the struggles I think our business faces, is taking that time to build that plan.
Yep.
And again, we have a lot of different touch points across the board where we connect with people. And there was a question in there somewhere, but now it's all about me. It's about, hey, how do we improve our process? But I think the real question is, how do I, again, we're going to stick with, as a firm owner, how do I determine what the tech is? Which
Yep.
tech do I use? And how do I really fully leverage it?
Yep.
Because again, I've limited time or experience or desire to write a 4-part,
Yeah.
email process.
Yeah, I mean, first, that's why we exist at Bold Growth, right? Because we do see it as a big opportunity to help businesses become more customer centric, and it is something that I believe is super important. But again, back to the timepiece, right? There's so many things going on in a day to day, and that may not be your specialty, and that's okay, right? You could be really good at accounting, and that's awesome. But there's resources out there like a Bold Growth or other folks that can help you really on the customer experience side and bring everything together. So as far as looking at what tech do I need for my business, when you're mapping out the entire customer journey and thinking in moments, I think it's important to take a step back and look at the problems that you're facing or roadblocks that you're facing as you're thinking in these moments. So you mentioned your process, right? After we hop off this call, there's a little bit of automation in place with emails that go out, et
Or there
cetera,
should be. No, there should
should
be.
be, yeah,
Yeah.
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 Oh, should be. So thinking of what are solutions that I could use to solve that problem for me. First, looking at your current tech stack, because this is how you avoid that tech bloat, right? Look at your
Right.
current tech stack and make sure that the solution's not there, or hopefully it is, so you don't have to onboard into another platform. If you do have to go into another platform, start searching the market for specific solutions, right, for you. There's tons of automation opportunities in place now where if you were to have to go get a different tool, you could still ultimately connect it to, let's use HubSpot again. By the way, we should have got paid by HubSpot
Yeah, we
before.
should. Yep.
So, but using HubSpot as an example, if you do have to go use another tool, there is a platform that I like to use with clients called Zapier, which helps automate and connect tools, right? So if you were to have to go get another tool to solve a specific problem, you should be able to still keep them all connected, which is great. But on the tech side, looking at what tech to add, I always look to make sure that the tech is solving an actual problem for me. And first look to the existing tech. Then if it's not there as far as solutions go, I'll then start exploring the market for different solutions.
Okay. And so let's wind up with this. So we're gonna stick with customer journey mapping.
Yeah.
So somebody listens to this podcast, the one person listens to this podcast, and we'll have your, actually, while we're at this point, how do they find you? How would somebody connect with you guys?
Yeah, so our website is boldgrowth.co, and they can also add me on LinkedIn. Happy to connect there as well. To find out first how customer centric your business is, we have a customer health kit that's completely free on our website. It puts you through a very simple quiz, gives you a how-to guide on how to get more referrals, reviews, and testimonials for your business. And at the end of it all, gives you a complimentary call where we dive in more to your specific business situation and how you can become more customer centric. That's right on our website.
Okay. And so there's a great example of the customer journey map, right? So
Yeah.
I got my first exposure on the Accounting Insiders podcast. I took action. I went to the website and I saw, oh, wow, here's this great resource. I downloaded that resource. So now I'm in your database.
Yeah.
And I guess you have the decision of, you're either going to reach out to me or you're going to wait for me to reach out to you. And on your end, is that automated? Like once I download that, am I getting an email from you in a week that says, hey,
Yeah.
you downloaded your form? And then I follow up if you don't hear from me.
Correct.
Um, so and these are the things that you work with clients on, right? So
Correct.
we start with data, and then we go to the mapping, and then you help build out a plan that says, look, let's do you do baby steps? Let's do one thing and do it really
Yes.
well. Then
Yep.
we'll add the second thing, then we'll add the third thing. Is
Yep.
that how that typically
Yeah,
works?
yeah. So the first step is gathering and understanding customer data, followed
Okay.
by the second step, which is the customer journey mapping. And then third, we actually workshop it with their entire team, where we go in and help them take action on our findings. So I find that, and what I've seen in the service-based business world and consulting world is, if a small business, especially that doesn't have a ton of time in their day-to-day, works with a consultant and just gets a plan, but doesn't actually get help to implement it and take action on it, they're not going to do it.
Right.
And that is a pain point that I've seen time and time again. So we really want to make sure we're helping them take action on what we find and actually helping them drive results. And that's why we actually stay on board until our fee is paid off. Again, on average, takes around 3 months. We track new business, increased productivity, and also cost savings from our recommendations and insights that we found throughout that process.
Okay. Yeah, and that kind of touches on something I was thinking about while you were talking, and that is, are you also looking at my current tech stack and saying, you don't need that, you don't need that, let's combine here and save $28 or whatever.
Exactly, exactly. And just I think also save headaches too, right?
Yeah.
I've found so many owners that we've worked with, they the one complaint they have is, my team's recommending all these tools and platforms, and now I have 5 different platforms to check when I start my day, right? So we really
Yeah.
want to help, drive focus and decrease the stress and headaches for that owner and their team.
Yeah. And help me get to where, it's very limited number of screens that I have to look at
Yeah,
in a day, or places that I have to go.
yeah.
Um, do you find through your process that you need a champion on the inside of these businesses to really keep it live and keep it moving forward?
Yeah, yes, and it's super important in the beginning of our process. We really find those key team members and champions to work with, but also help them, right? Because some of these folks, especially on the data side, may not be the more analytical side, or on the creative. Maybe they don't have a tech background, right? In which in most cases they don't. We give them a lot of guides and insight into how to not only help them personally, but also help their entire team if there is questions that come up.
Okay. Well, great. So one more time, the email address or the
Yeah.
URL,
Yep, boldgrowth.co.
boldgrowth.co, and then on LinkedIn, Blake Greywald, with a
Yes.
D, Great Greywald, right?
Greywall. Yeah, Blake,
Greywald.
Blake, Greywall, Grewal.
There we go. All right. And so download the paper. What's it called? The
So it's
resource
called
guide?
our customer health kit, and
The
that'll get
customer health
you
kit.
that'll send you off an email that has a customer health score form, which is very quick. It'll gauge how customer centric your business is. That's also going to come with a how-to guide to get more referrals, testimonials, and reviews for your business. And then we'll also schedule a complimentary call with the business as well.
Or am I going to get put on a spam list, and am I going to get 800 emails from you in the
No.
next 3 weeks?
No, I think if we were to do that, we wouldn't know how to build a better customer experience.
Right. I wouldn't be very good at what I do. Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
And then my last question, actually, I say we're closing up, but I did have one other question I failed
Yeah,
to ask, and that was, let's say it's a owner operator that decides, yes, this makes sense for me. If I'm ever going to grow my business, I have to get my hands around it and really
yeah,
understand the data and
yeah,
understand the journey and
yeah.
build a journey path. What am I looking at from a time commitment standpoint? Because I think in our profession, in the accounting profession, time is,
Oh yeah.
and it's the most valuable resource.
Yeah, no, and I totally get that. As a small business owner myself and working with other small business owners, the big thing is time, right?
Yep.
The delivery of the services in a timely manner is super important as well. So we take 6 weeks from start to finish in our
Okay.
customer experience transformation package, which that package that I just referenced is our core offering. We have additional services and tools that we're launching for businesses, but everyone starts at that core offering. And that takes 6 weeks from start to finish.
Okay. Is that an hour a day, hour a week?
Minimal. So it's always, and this is the other important part too, right? It's minimal time because of our process. We've been able to do this. It's minimal
Okay.
time on the business owner and team's part. We're in the
Okay.
background doing all the work.
Okay. So I'm not having to do a whole, am I having to Bunch of homework?
No, and that's
Okay,
one thing too that I think is super important and a big differentiator is you're not doing a lot of homework. You're paying us to do the work for you, right? So
right.
I want to make sure that in our process it's very smooth and seamless for the owner and team.
Okay. Well, great. Well, hopefully this will help you at least get the word out a little bit on
Yeah,
the
thank you.
accounting side. Love to have you back on at a future date just to talk a little bit further about the, any successes,
Yeah,
specific in the accounting field that you've seen,
yeah,
any product that you may be adding to or services that you may be adding
yeah,
on. Because I think that while, if you are listening to this, it may seem a little bit like a commercial for the company. It's not. This is not a paid commercial. It's not a paid opportunity. It's, I think it's something that's missing greatly in professional services firms,
yeah.
and very much so in the accounting side. Again, because accountants don't email me. Accountants aren't great marketers historically. And
No,
yes,
but
that's
they're good at their specialty, right? And
exactly right. I
yeah,
mean,
so
yeah, their training's in accounting. It's not
yeah,
in marketing. Um, so this type of service and kind of helping raise the awareness of, hey, marketing is important and marketing is a key to your growth. If you want to stay where you are, great, keep doing that. But if you really want to grow, really want to throw some gasoline on it and make this thing grow, you got to have a plan.
yep,
Whether it's with Blake and his company or another company, or heaven forbid you decide to do it yourself. It's important to build a plan if you want to grow. Else you're
yep,
not going to, and you're going to spend all your time, just renewing, replacing the business that you lost last year. So,
yeah.
but again, thank you so much for reaching
Yeah,
out. Thanks for your time, and let's hop on another call soon.
sounds good. Thank
All
you. I'll
right,
talk to you
thanks,
soon.
Blake. Appreciate it.